Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. It's October 13th, 2016. Thursday night football this evening is the Denver Broncos, the defending Super Bowl champions, at the San Diego Chargers. The Broncos are the favorite on the road because they're 4-1 and the Chargers are off to a lowly 1-4 start. What I'm going to show you in this video is why Gary Kubiak, the coach of the Broncos, is really out. It doesn't have anything to do with complex migraines as listed. It has everything to do with the NFL being a rigged script, and there's a specific reason that the backup coach is starting tonight, which we'll get to. I suspect the Chargers will win this game, and the main reason for that is right here. If the San Diego Chargers win tonight, they'll be 7-4 all-time on Thursday Night Football. They've played the Broncos twice on Thursday Night Football. They've split. They're 1-1. Anyhow, San Diego equals 74. They'll be 7-4 if they win tonight. The Broncos quarterback, Trevor Siemian, his birthday's 74 days after today's game. We'll get to all that. We're going to talk about Kubiak, his fake complex migraine, and the parallel to his fake collapse when he was the coach of the Texans against the Colts. There is a narrative for the Broncos to win here, but I think it's going to be the Chargers. And we'll talk more about why, but the main reason why is that 74 connection with their potential record of being 7-4 with the upset win at home. Tonight will be the 113th regular season game between the two teams all time, the 114th if you count their lone playoff matchup. In the series, the Chargers have won 62 times, the Broncos 49. I do suspect that the home game 2 weeks from now, the Broncos will win that one at home. However, I'll save that point for another week. I do already think the Broncos will win the next one at home, which is 2 weeks after today's game. But tonight, I think the Chargers split the series. I think by season's end, the Chargers will have 50 wins in the series, and the Broncos will have 63. Remember, if you count every number up to 63, it sums to 2016. I bet you the Broncos get their 63rd win in Denver 2 weeks from this week. This past week in the headlines, the quarterback for the Chargers, Philip Rivers, there's been rumors that he might get traded. San Diego's slacking. That said, it doesn't mean he's going to get traded. There's always these narratives of potential trades, but this has been one of the storylines this week. Philip Rivers, his full birth name in gematria sums to 113. 113. 113. Think about the Broncos and Chargers, their history. They've had some really interesting seasons. That one year where Jay Cutler was the quarterback for the Broncos and they had the big lead and they lost it to the Chargers in the final week of the season. The Chargers went to the playoffs. Maybe Philip Rivers will get his revenge this year. Perhaps the Chargers come storming back. We'll see. But anyway, 113th game, that very special number, mainstream equals 113, dishonest equals 113. They're coming in with 112 games played to start the season. This is the season of the Super Bowl in Houston. Houston equals 112. This Sunday will mark 112 days to the Super Bowl. Andrew Luck, who's from Houston, where he played his high school ball, where his father was the quarterback at the Oilers once upon a time. Andrew Luck comes into that game. His next touchdown pass will be his 112th. That game's 112 days from the Super Bowl in Houston. Houston equals 112. Andrew Luck 112. Horseshoe 112. So anyway, 112, big number on the year. Big number this week, 112. Broncos and Colts have history. Elway, Luck, Manning. Anyhow, back to this game. Philip Michael Rivers, 113, 113th game between both teams. Notice Philip Rivers was born in 81. San Diego Chargers have that gematria of 81. Fitting he's the quarterback. We'll talk about the coach and why he's such a good match too. But anyway, Philip Rivers, he's going up against interim coach for the Broncos because Gary Kubiak's faking the migraines. He doesn't make the calls. These people are all just puppet stooges, you know. Gary Kubiak, former quarterback, class of 83. Football equals 83, just like Elway. Drafted into the NFL in year 83 is what I'm saying. So anyway, Joe DeCamillis is learning life is different as a head coach. He's taking over the Broncos this week while head coach Gary Kubiak rests and recovers from what has been diagnosed as a complex migraine. If the Broncos lose tonight, their record's going to be 4-2. And the coach who's filling in is the special teams coach, DeCamillis. Look at the name DeCamillis in special teams. 42, 4-2 record. Freemasonry created football as we know it, American football. That said, there is one hang up here, and this is where, the trouble can be with gematria. It's a science, it's not a perfect science, and that's because the rules it's based on. The name DeCamillis with the S exception also sums to 51. Plus 9 more, 42 plus 9 is 51. If the Broncos were to win tonight with him as the interim coach, they'd become 5-1. Between the two methods, though, I think this is more pure, and I do suspect that he will go to 4-2 tonight. Then again, it's the season of Super Bowl 51, and the Broncos are the defending champs. Joe DeCamillis and gematria sums to 54, just like primetime. This is one of the 3 primetime matchups for the week, the first of it. Denver Broncos and gematria sums to 154. It has that 54 ending, just like Levi's Stadium where the Broncos won the Super Bowl last year. Things I pointed out before it was even played. The weekend before the Super Bowl, there was a story about how the field crew screwed up and painted both ends Denver Broncos. Probably wasn't a real story, but it was a subtle clue as to who the game was scripted for. As I said all season, it was scripted for the Broncos. So get this, Joe DeCamillis, his birthday is June 29th, 1965. From his birthday to tonight is 106 days, the number of prophecy, the number that they code again and again into sports. Gary Kubiak, who's missing, equals 106. So 106 days from his birthday, he gets to start because Gary Kubiak's out with the fake migraines. If the Broncos do win tonight, remember, Gary equals 51. Will they go 5-1 in the season of Super Bowl 51 for Gary? It could happen. But again, I really like that 74, 7-4 on Thursday Night Football. Plus a few other things. I'll point out that this man coaching tonight, filling in Joe DeCamillis, his birth numerology is 38. Colorado's the 38th state. Colorado and Pythagorean gematria equals 38. Last year, they won the Super Bowl on February 7th, the 38th day of the year. The word gold equals 38. It was the golden anniversary hosted by the 49ers, named after the gold rush. He also has that all-seeing eye, Star of David birth numerology. There was a story on ESPN today I caught, just flipping it on, hearing what they had to say, and they brought up how this guy could be a future coach, starting coach for another team. So if he won tonight, that would be the beginning of that narrative. Filling in for Kubiak, getting the big win on the road. Anyway, notice this language for Kubiak. They say he's out with a complex migraine, diagnosed as a complex migraine. Well, that diagnosis is straight gematria, because complex migraine equals 83, like Colorado, like football. Gary Kubiak drafted in 83 along with Elway. Colorado, the big way, equals 83. Kubiak had a collapse that was a hoax when he was with the Texans. Texans equals 83. Football name. Show you something about that Texans collapse. That happened on the date November 3rd, 11/3. 1-1-3. This is the 113th game all time between the Chargers and Broncos. Kubiak collapsed against the Colts. Think about the Colts. Think about the Chargers. Do you know the narrative? Peyton Manning was once a Colt. Eli Manning, his little brother, got drafted by the Chargers. Then their father, the former Saint, Archie, had a fit and said, "My son won't play for the Chargers. They're a lousy, no-good franchise." And next thing you know, he was a New York Giant. And next thing you know, he was winning a Super Bowl right after his brother. And next thing you know, his big brother was losing in a Super Bowl to the Saints, who their father played for. Scripted NFL. Anyhow, Gary Kubiak, he was 52 at the time, right? Prophecy the small way is 52. His name Gary Kubiak's 106, Prophecy the big way. 1-1-3, and now here are the parallels. More prophecy coding on this game tonight, plus it's another 1-1-3. Mainstream, dishonest 1-1-3. The date of that game, November 3rd, 2013, also a date with 47 numerology. Important number to the Texans franchise. Important number to Andrew Luck in the upcoming Super Bowl, Super Bowl 51, the 47th of the modern era. Houston Texans, 51, Conspiracy 51. We'll see how this season winds up, but remember, the Broncos and the Colts, named after horses, are paired together at the hip in this scripting. All of these teams seemingly having parallels. The Colts got their first win this year against the Chargers, you know? So anyway, in the matchups, the Chargers are going for their 50th win tonight. The Broncos are going for 63. The Broncos, they just won Super Bowl 50 in San Francisco. In California, San Diego also in California. San Francisco equals 50. If the coach of the Chargers wins tonight, he'll get his 24th win. When you write out 24 as a word, it sums to 50. Mike McCoy with the Chargers, going for win number 24. 50th all-time against the Broncos for the franchise. If they get 50, part of the narrative will be because the coach was missing. 50 has that gematria of 66, like NFL. The first Super Bowl was in the season of 66. Gary Wayne Kubiak, his full name, the small way, 66. He's currently 55 years old. We'll talk about who's going for win number 55 tonight. That's Phillip Rivers in a moment. From his birthday to tonight's game is 59 days. 59 often a negative number, having to do with, destruction, killing, death. Maybe in the football translation it means a loss. That said, there's duality to these numbers, and I have seen some instances where 59 seemingly isn't that bad. So we'll learn something tonight. But if they lose, don't be surprised. Today also has a life lesson number of 32. Denver equals 32. Broncos equals 32. Sometimes when numbers line up for a team, it means they're the team to, be the ritual sacrifice, if you will, on the game, the losing end. It's also 8 weeks and 3 days from his birthday. Those complex migraines, those 83. So Trevor Siemian, the starter tonight, 24 years old. Mike McCoy, the opposing coach, trying to get his 24th win. From tonight's game to his birthday, 74 days. 74. San Diego, 74 again. San Diego, the small way, 38, like Colorado, the 38th state. Paxton Lynch, the other rookie, he got replaced. Trevor Siemian's shown to be more impressive. He's healthy again. That's the story. They're putting him back in. If you missed my video on how Paxton Lynch got put in for Trevor Siemian, you want to check that out. It was a 13 ritual. And tonight's game comes on the 13th day of the month. Trevor Siemian does wear 13. Broncos with the S exception equals 41. The 13th prime. Super Bowl equals 41. They won their first game of the year, defeating the Panthers, who they defeated in the Super Bowl with a sum of 41 points. Game ended with a 50-yard missed field goal. Gary Wayne Kubiak, the big way, sums to 174, just like Carolina Panthers. Remember Derek Anderson, 174 yards passing at halftime this past week? Phillip Rivers comes in with 174 games played, 97 wins. It's the 97th season of the NFL. The Broncos won in 1997. The opening night of this season, they kept going to the Broncos banner in 97, 97th season of the NFL. Remember, Trevor Siemian, his full name, has those 98 connections. I predicted that the Broncos would win that game by the numbers, everything lined up for Trevor Siemian. Tonight, Phillip Rivers has his chance to get his 98th win over Trevor Siemian. Trevor Siemian might be the GOAT tonight. Phillip Rivers, in the regular season, going for his 55th win. He comes in with 54, the number coded onto the other coach. Going for 55, while Kubiak's out. This is what I suspect will happen. Lifetime, he'll be going for his 57th win. This is the 57th season of the Chargers. The first time they beat the Broncos on Thursday Night Football. Let me find this for you. Go through all the Broncos games together. The first ever, or let's do it this way. Let's go through the Chargers. The first ever Chargers Thursday night football game was 2008. Notice they're not highlighted anywhere else. First one, 2008 against the Raiders. They won that, 34-7. Their next game, they won it over the Titans, 42-17. Next game over the 49ers, they won it. They're 3-0 now on Thursday night football. Their first loss came against the Raiders, 3-1. Their next win came against the Chiefs. They became 4-1. 4-1 after the Chiefs. Against the Raiders, they lost again, 4-2. Raiders equals 74 like San Diego. Seemingly the Raiders have their number. So 4-2 after that. Then they beat the Broncos. 5-2. 52, that number of prophecy, a number riding on tonight's game, could come up. This game was played December 12th, 2013. That was a date with 57 numerology. This is the 57th season for the Chargers. So they're 5-2 here. Their next game was against the Broncos. They lost 5-3. Then against the 49ers, 6-3. Against the Raiders beat them again, 6-4. Notice they won with a combined 43 points. Chargers equals 43. But 6-4. Now the next game is tonight. Tonight, if they win, they'll be 7-4. 7-4. So anyway, couple more notes. Chargers equals 79. Today leaves 79 days left in the year. 79 is the 22nd prime number. Football, a game of 11 on 11, 22 men on the field. Fitting name for a football team. Here's Mike Malloy. It's going to be his 54th game against the backup coach with the 54 name gematria. Going for his 24th win. Again, 24 equals 50. Be 50th win all time for the Chargers against the Broncos. Chargers, Mike McCoy a match. Mike McCoy, the big way, 97. Phillip Rivers, 97 career wins. Tonight would be a big one against the defending Super Bowl champs, their first matchup of the season. Mike McCoy even has the 24 birth numerology. I don't think there'd be a more, fitting opponent to defeat in a season to get your 24th win when it's symbolic, The team that just won Super Bowl 50. So we'll see what happens soon enough. Use this knowledge. For those of you who follow football more, who know the narratives more, you can go further with this knowledge. Remember, I don't watch that much sports. I just try to keep up enough so I can make the videos, put out the information. I've known sports are rigged since I was a child. I grew up a good athlete. I never dropped a ball as a child. I watched these NFL players that supposedly get paid millions of dollars drop balls left and right on crucial third down conversions, plays that would change the game. How can you be a multi-million-dollar athlete and drop such gimme balls so often as it happens every week in the NFL? So obvious that pro sports are scripted. If these guys were getting paid millions of dollars, they wouldn't be dropping the ball. There's a lot of good athletes out here. You watch the NFL, it's just a joke.